like to call the June 6th meeting of the Stanley County Board of Education to order, and to welcome all of you here tonight. And I sense a little excitement in the room, and these are enjoyable times for any school board when you do recognitions, and we'll get into those in just a moment. We'd like to amend the agenda, if there's no objections from anyone, to include the North Stanley High School softball girls state championship team is here tonight, I think. So we're going to include them in the recognitions, and that will be number 3 under the recognition list. Is there any objections to that? If not, consider it added to the agenda. And I recognize Miss Vicki Watson, if you stand when we do the pledge, but if recognize her for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you bow with me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you with a most gracious heart. I ask that you lead us in making wise decisions for the students of Stanley County Schools. Through you, Lord Jesus, we can do great things. I ask these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. And the chair will recognize Ms. Derbill Josie for about 6 or 7 recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And like you said earlier, it's nice to have a packed house. When a school board has this many people, it either means you're doing something really right or really wrong. And luckily tonight it is for positive recognitions. I'd like to start by calling forward Mrs. Jessie Morton, principal at Stanfield Elementary School, to recognize the Stanfield robotics team.
Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate tonight our robotics team. They have placed at the county and also at the state levels. But with every team, successful student team, are 2 teacher leaders, and they're going to be introduced now. But their time, their efforts, their leadership certainly contributed to the successes of our team. So I'd like to introduce Mrs. Paige Parker and Mr. Judson Barbie. And also if our team would come forward.
Hey, I also would like to thank you for giving these kids the opportunity to go through this program. They had a great time. I'd like to recognize them. This is Callie Burris, Ethan Tarleton, Sam Watson, Maddie Rowland, and then we have 4 students that are not here tonight. They're Colby Robinson, Kendall Matheny, I'm trying to pick them out, Trey Whitley, and who's the 4th one? Mallory Lisk. I apologize, being unprepared. Ms. Parker is going to tell a little bit about the accomplishments that we had.
Our students went to the competition for the region and placed enough that they could go on to the state. When we got to the state, there were 4 competitions they had to work in, and it was the robot competition where they actually their robot had to score points on a system, and they had to program it through the computer. They had a presentation, they had a research, and they had a team building. And our actual robot won the most points in the state. But then when they averaged all 4 together, we got third in the state. So we were very, very proud of our accomplishments with this team. They did it all themselves.
Mr. Chair, I'd next like to call Mr. Toby McLaurin and Mrs. Carla Ross from Albemarle High School.
First, I want to thank everyone for allowing us to come tonight and for recognizing all the different recognitions we have. But from Albemarle High School, representing our women's track team, we did have a state champion this year, and she is a freshman, so we're expecting her to start collecting these rings. But before I mention her, I want to recognize her coach because as we all know, students student athletes come with plenty of abilities, but it takes a coach to mold them. So I do want to recognize Ms. Ross in the meanwhile for her, molding this young lady and creating a state champion. But I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Ross so she can talk about Taniqua.
Good evening, everyone. This is an amazing young lady. From the very first time she stepped onto the track, I knew there was something special about her. She has an ability that you just wouldn't believe. When she first told me, she said, "I want to run the hurdles." I said, "Well, I want you to run relays." And the 100-yard, yeah. She said, "No, I think I can run the hurdles." Okay, so we put her out there. From day one she ran, she won first place. Every meet we had, she won first place in the 100 hurdles. She won first place in the 300 hurdles. She qualified for regionals the very first time she got out there. So we're very proud of her. And she qualified running a 17.8, and that took her to state. The first time she ran the 100 hurdles, she was kind of disappointed, I think, because there was a girl that she was a very good young lady. She beat her. She said, well, that's it. 300 hurdles came around. They started off, and I said, well, here she comes. Somebody said, well, I think that girl's going to beat her. I said, I don't think so. She came into the curve, and when she got on the straightaway, that was it. She blew her away. And I told everybody, this is a freshman. You will see her again for 3 more years, and that young lady is Taniqua Knight.
Shy.
She's very shy.
Thank you.
I take it she does her talking on the track, so that's okay. Mr. Josie, I'm sorry.
You're fine. Next, Ms. Joy Haithcock and Mr. Greg Spate and the North Stanley High School softball team.
Thank you for recognizing our group of great girls that we have here from North Stanley High School. If there's one thing that's tough to do in sports and life, whatever, it's to be just as good in your current year as you were the year before. And the group of girls you have in front of you did just that. And then they did it one better. Last year they finished runner-up in the state for the 1A softball championship. And that they used that as determination and fuel to move them forward and to do it one better this year. And we're very proud of them, very proud of our coaches, Greg Spate and MK Cheek. And I'm going to let them talk a little bit about the girls and their journey to the state championship.
Can you hear me? All right, I want to face you because I'm a teacher and I'm used to facing the people, most of the people that I talk to. So, you all right with that?
Okay, that's good.
All right, good. Okay, I just want to introduce each of these ladies first. This is MK Cheek. Last year we had a very good assistant, and she moved to Alabama. Her husband got a different job, and we lost her. And my philosophy about coaching is, I'm not going to find anybody that I think don't know as much or more than I do. Okay, because if they don't know more than I do, they can't help me. So we found MK here, and she has done a wonderful job with these girls. She calls pitches, and that's really the most difficult part, as far as I'm concerned, about a softball game is calling the pitches. And she's done a great job, and she's helped them with the mechanics, and the girls love her. It's just been a really good hire for us. She fit right in. And then each girl, this is Mimi Selke. Mimi played center field last year. We moved her to catcher this year. Our catcher graduated. And Mimi done a great job. As a matter of fact, I didn't think she could do it. I was going to leave her in center field and catch the next girl, Alexa Sales. But Alexa's such a good third baseman, we realized we really didn't have anybody else that could play that spot. So we tried Mimi at catching, and she turned out to be great, and that way we could leave Alexa at third, and Alexa's the one that hit shot heard around the world, whatever you want to call it. But in the 11th inning the other night, with the score tied 1-1, she hit a 2-run homer, and that was the difference. Beside Lex is Wesleyan Allman. She's a senior. Alexa's going to play at Appalachia next year. Wesleyan is our shortstop. She's going to play at Garner-Webb. Those are the only two people on our team that played the same position as last year's girls that went to the state finals. So it really was a different team. We had to move people around. We had to replace people. We lost 4 starters, and these girls just did whatever we asked them and did it to the best of their ability, and it paid off. Megan West. Megan's a freshman. Very good team. She didn't see the field a lot, but she worked hard at practice, and she supported the girls. And, you know, you can't just have 9 people if you're going to play 9. You've got to have people with other roles, and Megan done a great job. Who's next? Okay. Devin Uri. Devin was a good player last year, and she broke her ankle the first game of the year and missed the whole season. So this year she's a sophomore. She played left field for us. She done a great job, and we've got 2 more years with Devin. Abby Roseman. Abby played JV in the past. This year she was, we actually had an injury where we had a girl miss 5 or 6 games, and Abby came off the bench and replaced her and did a great job for the 5 or 6 games that she got to see action. We also use her as a pinch runner some, and she works hard every day at practice. She'll be back next year, and we're looking forward to good things from her in the future. Where's Peyton? Step up, Peyton. Okay. All right, this is Peyton Landis. She's a freshman, and she is a really good player. We can't find anything she can't do. She can pitch. We played her at first. She ended up playing center field, and she can just about go from foul line to foul line. And at the end of the year, she was really swinging a nice bat. She was on base when Lex hit the home run that won it, so she was a vital part to our team. Okay, next is Samantha Hogan. Samantha, step up where they can see you. Samantha is going to Wingate to play next year. Samantha has been the one that sort of carried us the last 3 years as a pitcher, and this year we were playing West Stanley at the beginning of the 3rd inning. Sam went to warm up, threw 2 pitches, and she couldn't throw anymore. She was basically out there on the ground in tears. Something had happened with her knee, which was kind of tied in with her hips, and it was really complicated. I think there's some physical therapists that could come here and explain it, but I'm not one of them. But anyway, Sam missed 5 or 6 games, and she tried to come back and pitch, and she did come back and pitch some valuable innings for us, but she ended up basically just being a first baseman. But Sam was such a vital role, not only because she's a great player, because she is. She's made All-State twice and probably going to make it this year. But Sam stepped up and encouraged the girl who replaced her, which that says more good things about Sam than anything. So, Sam, we appreciate you. Who's next? Maris. Step up, Maris. Okay, this is Maris Talbot. She's a freshman, and she's actually the one who replaced Sam. I knew we were pretty good, but when Sam got hurt, I thought, okay, we're going to have a good year. But winning the state is now out of the question, because you're not going to throw a freshman pitcher out there and get it done. Okay, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I think Maris's ERA for the year was 1.88, and she pitched just about all the big games against the best teams and had that kind of ERA. And she's also a good hitter. If she hadn't have pitched, she still would have been a big part of our team, but she did pitch, and she sort of led us to the state championship with her pitching. Jada Jordan. Jada, great story about Jada. Jada's played the outfield lately. She played the infield when she was smaller, but this year, because of graduation, you know, first day of practice, said, Jada, we're going to have to move you to the infield, and she was not happy. She called my daughter and complained, who doesn't even live here anymore. But she decided that after thinking about it a couple of days that she would do it, and she would do it to her best of her ability, and she came to practice and worked hard, and she done a great job at second base, and she also had some key hits at times. So, Jada, we appreciate your sacrifice of coming to the infield. Camille last. Okay, Camille Shelton. Camille played JV last year, caught mostly for the JV team, but you know, this year we needed an outfielder, and Camille, and she wasn't really that good when the season started, I'll go ahead and tell you. But we didn't have a lot of options. We had 11 players. But she really worked hard, both hitting and fielding, and halfway through the year, in the last half of the year, she done a fantastic job. And Camille is like the life of our team. She is so much fun to be around. And, you know, she always has the music going. I mean, I love her to death. I teach her in class, and she's just life. She just has a good time living. And so they're a great bunch. They're really talented. As I said, 3 of them's going to play in college. There's 3 or 4 more that's being looked at. So they're a talented team, but that's not the best thing about this bunch. I'm going to say a couple more words about her, and I'll get out of y'all's way. But this team is the true definition of a team, and I don't take any credit for it. It's mostly the senior leadership. Every morning before school on game days, they went to the dinette and ate together as a team. A number of people in the community started buying the meals for them. A lot of days after we got through practicing, they would either go swimming at someone's house together or maybe go out and have dinner. Over Easter break, everybody was trying to find a tournament to play in or practice as much as they could. And 5 of the mothers took all of these girls to the beach, Holden Beach, and they just went and played on the beach. So I always tell them playing over your vacation's overrated, and I think these girls proved it. But they really loved each other. We had no drama. They are the true definition of a team. They're all great girls. The seniors provided they didn't lead by telling people what to do. They led by showing people what to do. If there was anything that needed done, one of these 3 seniors was doing it themselves, or they were saying, hey, let's go get that, and they was getting someone to help them. So they really brought everyone else up, and the talent was there, but they made us a team, and this is a really special bunch, and we're going to remember all this for the rest of our lives. This would have been a great year if we hadn't won the state. It's just a great bunch of girls, and so I thank you for recognizing us, and I'll shut up now. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Speck. Next, I'd like to call Danny Poplin up for the next 2 awards.
Mr. Chairman, board members, the Governor's School of North Carolina is a 5.5-week summer residential program for intellectually gifted high school students. It integrates academic disciplines, the art, unique courses on each of 2 campuses. It's the oldest statewide summer residential program for these gifted high school students. This year, we'd like to recognize Braden A. Davis, who attends Stanley Early College. He was chosen by the selection committee of North Carolina Governor's School. He will be attending, right glasses. She will be attending English studies at Meredith College. Ms. Braden, I apologize. Congratulations.
Here you go, Brady.
Also, seniors who complete a 4-week course cluster in career and technical education must take the At-Work Keys assessment in Stanley County Schools in North Carolina. By taking the At-Work Keys assessment, students have the opportunity to earn 1 of 4 levels of the National Career Readiness Certificate, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Students who score at the platinum level are eligible for more than 99% of the 16,000 jobs in the WorkKey occupational profile database. Only 1% of test takers nationwide score at this level. We're very pleased to announce that Drake Austin from West Stanley High School is the recipient of a Platinum National Career Readiness Certificate. We'd like to ask Drake Austin to come up front, please. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next I'd like to call Ms. Vicki Calvert, if she'll meet me at the podium.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, at this time, we'd like to recognize our Superintendent's Student of the Year. And as I call your name, if you'll come forward, please. From Albemarle High School, Taya Joseph. Albemarle Middle School, Brian Gutierrez Santa Maria. Aquadale Elementary School, Brianna Douglas. Baden Elementary School, Victoria Ekman. From Central Elementary School, Maddie Grace Story. From East Albemarle Elementary School, Jasmine Arriaga Aviles. Yes. From Indy Elementary School, Nathan Rich. From Locust Elementary School, Andrew Underwood. From Millingport Elementary School, Grace Yang. From North Stanley High School, Tate Cord. From North Stanley Middle School, Hal Chin. From Norwood Elementary School, Ahijah Jones. From Richfield Elementary School, Chloe Hudson. From South Stanley High School, Madison Hatley. From South Stanley Middle School, Galaxy Deese. From Stanfield Elementary School, Reagan Talley. From Stanley Academy Learning Center, Emma Lee Allen. From Stanley Early College High School, Kennedy Sloop. From West Stanley High School, Cameron Brown. From West Stanley Middle School, Gloria Rubio.
You want to get some pictures?
Thanks for doing these.
Okay. Do they know? Do they know?
No, I'm gonna call Kim Page, the principal's up to do it. Every year, our schools select 3 special staff members. They select the Certified Support Staff Member of the Year, the Classified Support Staff Member of the Year, and the Teacher of the Year. Tonight, we'd like to recognize our district level classified and certified support staff of the year. Our support staff are very important to the workings of our school, and we want to recognize those that were selected at the district level. But I'd like to ask Kim Page to come forward and help us with the classified support person of the year.
I'd like to thank you for recognizing the people that you have tonight. It's great to see these students recognized as well as the hardworking staff that we have each day. But tonight, I would like to recognize a very special person, and I want to use the words that our staff described her with. This person is a leader in our school. They're a role model, and she always has a smile on her face. She is certainly a main pulse in our school as well. She intends for everyone she meets to know she sincerely cares for them. She wants the best for each person that crosses her path. We're able to see this in her interactions every day at school. And we also see this in her family, which happens to be the Hill family. I'm proud to announce that this year, Stanley County Schools Support Staff Person of the Year is Miss Myra Hill. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Mr. Devron Furr to come help us with the announcement of the certified support staff member.
All right. Won't keep you in suspense like Ms. Page, but Mr. Chairman, board members, I'd like to introduce my curriculum coach, Rebecca Little. We wouldn't have, yep. We wouldn't have time tonight for me to go over all the wonderful things that she does for our school, but I'll try to touch on a few. She's a phenomenal curriculum coach. She's a teacher's teacher. When teachers have a question about how to teach a lesson, address a specific learning concern, whether or not they're on the correct pace along with the rest of the county, Ms. Little has the answers. Her extensive background in exceptional children means that she can address learning issues and tailor fit interventions to help students learn. She has an uncanny ability to crack the learning code with students who struggle the most. At any given time in our school, she's working with students in intervention groups, helping teachers select appropriate dynamic material in which to teach, or going over student data in our weekly professional development communities. I can't think of anyone who is more deserving of this award than Mrs. Little. Ms. Little, thank you for all you do for our school. You're very much appreciated. Thank you, Rob.
Our next group that we'd like to recognize and also celebrate are our third-year teachers. Teachers that are completing their third year of teaching and all the requirements of a beginning teacher. Beginning teachers for their first 3 years in teaching have to complete many requirements, professional trainings. Many of these teachers entered lateral entry, so that meant along with planning lessons and figuring out how to teach a classroom of children, also had to take courses at local universities or online. So this is a big accomplishment for these folks. I also like to point out that they stuck with us for 3 years, and we're very happy to have them and are looking forward to many, many more years. When I call your name, I'd like you to come forward, please. Matthew Almond, Carrie Andrews, Sarah Blanton, Brooke Boucher, Mackenzie Bowers, Renee Carpenter, Ashley Carter, Whitney Creighton, Holly Dennis, Jade Fairfield, Tamra Furr, Allison Greer, Holly Haithcock, John Herlocker, Riley Honeycutt, Brittany Honeycutt Medlin, Kathy Johnson, Matthew Jones, Haley Kuhn, Taryn Laxton, Tanya Lee, Robert Leto, Keith Livesay, Erica Louder, Ken Macon, Jennifer McCall, Brent Messenger, Eric Mormon, Crystal Morris, Deborah Page, Wallace Reed, Stephanie Ritchie, Jasmine Scott, Derek Smith, Michelle Smith, Natalie Smith, Billy Snuggs, Kimberly Widenhouse, and Erica Tucker. all of you standing here tonight, I look at you and I think about from year one till year now, and you have done such a wonderful job, and we are so proud of you and celebrate you tonight on your accomplishments. Let's give them a round of applause. Well, hang on one second.
Chair will declare a 5-minute recess, because I'm sure some of you want to clear out, and then also the board members may want to speak to some of these people. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. The board has before it consideration of minutes for April 25th, special call meeting, May 2nd, regular meeting. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Instructional program, Ms. Glenda Gibson.
Yes.
Notice how they got quiet when we went to a school teacher over here.
Sorry about that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have something to report. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on May the 8th, where at that time we discussed the pros and cons associated with the current graduation project. We know that in 2010, the state of North Carolina stated that the graduation project would no longer be a requirement for high school seniors. The continuation of the graduation project was left up to the decision of individual local school systems. At this time, the state has adopted a new standard course of study for the English Language Arts curriculum throughout all grade levels. Within these standards falls a heavy emphasis on writing, but no mention of a culminating project in which a student works with a mentor. Ms. Kathy Troublefield and Mr. Danny Poplin have been working closely together to develop an instructional rubric for the high school English curriculum at each grade level, with a major focus on writing research papers, demonstrating research and writing skills, development of digital presentations in conjunction with oral public speaking presentations, and community service. What each of you have before you is a rough draft which gives each of you an overall type of syllabus of the rigorous writing component for each grade level of high school English. Being that the state has adopted a new English course of study, the Curriculum and Instructional Committee recommends to the board to discontinue the graduation project effective this upcoming school year, knowing that our students will be building upon their research and writing skills and oral public speaking skills across all grade levels, as is a major component of the new English Language Arts course of study. And you can certainly see this is a rough draft. In speaking with Ms. Troublefield, Mr. Danny Poplin, knowing that they will be meeting with English teachers, high school teachers, middle school teachers, and tweaking, I'm sure this part of it that some things may be tweaked on here, but you can see that there is a real emphasis, and this is what the Curriculum and Instruction Committee had been meeting about and talking about off and on when we met.
we really wanted to see that strong writing component in each grade level, and this certainly addresses that. I especially look at 11th grade, and if you look at 11th grade with the writing of a research paper, an informative or explanatory research paper on a community resource of choice, and you see there that students are involved, and this is happening even before 11th grade, but I just chose 11th because this is where the writing seems to be taking place now. But there's peer editing, there's students writing a letter to whoever the person is that they might present as far as an oral presentation. They have to give that 7 to 10 minute talk. So they certainly are addressing the public speaking. And then this is just added into their Canvas portfolio that they continue to build throughout high school. I love the part of developing a digital presentation for their research paper because certainly we're taking our students into the 21st century of their writing and their technology. So a big thank you to Ms. Troublefield and Mr. Danny Poplin for putting this together. Again, the Curriculum and Instruction Committee is recommending to the board to discontinue the graduation project effective this upcoming school year, knowing that our students will be building upon their research and writing skills and oral public speaking skills across all grade levels, and is a major component of the new English Language Arts course of study.
Just for clarification, this will be put into effect. Is that what you're saying? This,
Yeah, Mr. Trouble, I'll be sure to make it clear. I had asked Ms. Trouble, give Ms. Troublefield put this together.
Okay.
Be sure she gets credit. This will be looked at by the high school teachers. This will be a way to ensure that we're in all agreement, and when we go across the 4 traditional high schools and non-traditional, to be sure that we cover all of the things that are put forth in the standard course of study. This literally could be like our piece of our pacing guide for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade.
thank you, Mr. Poplin. Okay, the chair understands that the recommendation from the curriculum committee is to discontinue the graduation project for upcoming school year. No second needed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Okay, motion carries. You have anything else, Mr. Gibson?
No, that is it. Thank you.
Okay. Facilities, Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, the Facilities Committee met on May 17th. And in your packet, you'll see several papers regarding that meeting. And one of the specific items we addressed was the easement request from Piedmont Natural Gas at Albemarle High School. If there's some information in that packet regarding that. It will involve, I think, for a short period of time, a portion of those roads to be shut down, but there will be one lane open. So that both of those roads that it involves will still be able to be traveled, and they're going to do it in sections. If you do have any more questions regarding this, I'm sure Ms. Hatley can answer those, but this does require board action.
Just for information purposes, did they have a estimated start date on this?
As soon as possible in June, after we approve and sign the contract and agreement, they would get started.
Hopefully, a lot of it can be done this summer then. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? If not, this is a recommendation from the facilities. Mr. McIntyre, so no second is needed. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Yes, also, we did, while in this meeting, discuss a few more things and I will have Ms. Hatley come up and just speak on those. The two things that she will speak on will be, she has some figures on the transportation costs for Oakboro Choice as far as busing, and also some information regarding out-of-county transfers.
Good evening. I was asked for some information about the projected Oakboro transportation costs, and this was compiled in April. Our transportation director, Michael Lambert, spoke with the DPI State Transportation Director, Kevin Harrison, and they determined that the estimate of transportation costs for Stanley County Schools is $1.78 per mile. We have identified 4 hub stops for Oakboro Choice STEM pickup and drop-off. Those 4 hub stops are the middle schools. Given the distance from those hub stops to Oakboro and back, Mr. Lambert was able to estimate how much it would cost per day, and the total per day for all locations is $350. And based on 180 days, that's $63,000 per year. We are looking at consolidating some of those some of the buses that we're using to make those pickups and drop-offs. So instead of using 4 buses for the 4 locations, we're looking at consolidating some buses, maybe using 1 bus to pick up at 2 locations, and then in the afternoon using 2 buses, 1 to go to 1 location and 1 to go to 3 locations. So hopefully we can get that figure down, but that is just an estimate.
Hey, just for point of information, that if you're using those as hub stops, then actually time on the bus is probably going to be less than some would be spending on the bus now.
Yes, it would, especially in the morning for that pickup. The drop-off, we are trying to consolidate with 2 buses, but still, they would spend less time maneuvering through 3 stops than they would. Some of our other riders are spending up to an hour and a half. So it would be less than that.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions?
Okay.
Not.
All right, the other item Mr. McIntyre asked about was not charter schools, but out-of-county transfers. We charge a tuition rate, and that rate is the same as our per pupil share of our local current expense fund, and currently for this year, that is $1,242.82, and that is the tuition that we charge our out-of-county transfers.
1242 roughly, 1242?
Yes.
Okay. Just for information, I've sent a text to the facilities chair, and they're going to be looking at kicking a policy around on this as far as our out-of-county transfers. And hopefully they'll have something coming back to us soon on that. Okay. Anything else?
Could I ask a quick question? So the charge is $1,200 roughly. The ADM money would follow that student from whatever county they're coming to here additionally?
So,
do I understand that correctly?
The first year that they are here, they're not included in that ADM allotment from the state because it's based on last year and then projections for the upcoming year. So we would not get the ADM money for this year, but if they stayed with us and they're in that projection for next year, they would be included in that count.
Okay, so the projection for the next year would be roughly $8,400 on top of the $1,200, or whatever it is from that county, something. Okay, give or take.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hatley. Do you have anything else, Mr. McIntyre? Okay, thank you. Finance, Ms. Vicki Watson.
I do not have a report, but we will be meeting very soon as our commissioners get their budget done and we get ours and get everything together. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Personnel, Ms. Crump.
Yes, the Personnel Committee met on May 8th at 6:30 that evening. I'll combine the two because we also decided to meet on May the 15th, the week following that at 12:30 in the afternoon, simply because there were some closed session items that we were not able to discuss during the first meeting that we wanted to get to on the second meeting. And during that time, a couple of other points of interest came up for us to talk about during the May 15th meeting. I won't go over the closed session meeting minutes, but during the May 8th meeting, we discussed the K-3 class size update, and Ms. Calvert provided information explaining the amendment to the current classroom size law. The current district average allows a maximum of 6 over the allotment. During the 17-18 school year, this coming school year, it will allow a maximum of 5 over. So instead of 6 this year, it will allow a maximum of 5, and then 3 over during the 18-19 school year. She also discussed that overall Stanley County operates below the state allotment, so the impact concerning the numbers of teachers would not be a concern. So that's good news. She briefly discussed current legislator conversation, the conversations concerning funding for art, music, and physical education teachers. We're still keeping our fingers crossed there, but don't have word on that. Teacher recruitment update. We just wanted to touch base to see what we were doing with our teacher recruitment efforts. Ms. Calvert described current efforts taken for the recruitment of employees to Stanley County schools and the impact the economy drop had on previous efforts used. She stated that outside of job fairs with surrounding universities, Stanley County Schools has implemented the new teacher support program affiliated with UNCC. So we do work in conjunction with UNCC with that program. Additional conversations included pay and supplement issues compared to surrounding counties and marketing recruiter options. Another area of concern came up. One of the central office directors provided information to us that the committee concerning teacher versus director salary. This central office director asked for consideration for directors to be compensated as if within the classroom due to the NC pay scale of the 5-year pay increases and the supplements teachers currently receive. So let me say that again. There are a couple of teachers who have current positions in the central office, and when they were hired at a certain pay level, but they have not been privy to the yearly or annual raises that teachers get. And so they have stayed stagnant at this one level. And so most all director positions in the central office are within about $20 range. But there are 2 positions that we really should look at. And so we're going to bring that to the finance committee and look at that because they're being paid substantially lower than what they would be paid if they were in the classroom working a 10-month position than a 12-month position. So it is fair, and we are all in agreement that we must look at this. So at the Finance Committee, we'll be looking at it. And that's all. Well, no, it isn't all I have. Excuse me. This is important. We also met on the 15th. We had updates from the curriculum directors. So several different curriculum directors were in attendance, and we were able to have some good conversation. One of the things that we talked about was how we could incorporate homeschoolers to see if they would be interested in taking a couple of online courses from North Carolina Virtual Public Schools. In that conversation and prior to that conversation, Chairman Poole had asked me if I would, since I had taken a particular interest in this, if I would head that up. And so I did contact Pam Moss, who is on the board. I believe she's the chairperson of the board of the Montgomery and Stanley County Homeschool Association. And so this week, actually, she's had this information for about 4 or 6 weeks. And the information is just how can we work with you? Can we have some conversations about possibly enrolling in these courses? How can Stanley County Schools help you to maybe incorporate a relationship there? They're bringing it to their board this week, so they have either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week that they're meeting. I spoke with her today, and she'll be reporting back to me, so hopefully we'll have good news. And that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Crump. Policy, Mr. Todd Swearingen.
No report.
Mr. Josie, you have anything for? Okay. Mr. Poplin, you up at bat.
Good evening. Shared with you in your materials was information on the proposed 2017-2018 Stanley County Schools CTE local plan. Within that was also included a estimated and proposed budget for federal and state funding for CTE. The plan is a necessary part of the State Board of Education's accountability to the General Assembly of North Carolina and the U.S. Department of Education. These assurances signal the local Stanley County Schools' capacity to carry out the state and federal legal requirements and policies during this 2017-2018 year. So I'm here tonight seeking approval for the Stanley County Schools CTE local plan for next year.
And the chair apologizes to you, Ms. Harvey. You don't look like Mr. Danny Poplin. But I didn't realize he was going to defer to you. Okay. What's the pleasure of the board? We need a motion to approve this.
Move approval of the CTE budget plan for 2017-2018.
Motion by Mr. Todd Swearingen to approve the CTE budget plan for 2016-2017. Do we have a second? You're right. I'm looking at my paper here, I'm sorry. We have a second? Second by Mr. Watson. Any further discussion or any questions for Ms. Harvey?
Chairman Poole, I need an approval of the plan
And the
that
budget.
includes the budget. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You have any problem? Okay, maybe the chair left that out. Thank you. Okay, so the motion is to approve the plan and the budget. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ms. Harvey. I guess Ms. Susan Brooks is up next.
Good evening, members of the board. I did also share in your packet information for the federal programs, Title I, II, and III. In this one, it is the plan that I'm requesting that approval for tonight for those plans. Do we have any questions?
Do we have a motion for approval of the plan? And we can discuss. Okay, motion by Ms. Vicki Watson to approve Title I, II, III plan as presented. Do we have a second? Have a second. Any further questions or discussion? Just clarification from the chair, a lot of this money pretty well comes with strings attached to it
Yes.
anyway, doesn't it? So you don't
Yes.
really have a lot of leeway at the local level.
Not a lot. There's a few things, if you look, a lot of ours is in people and staff, so.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Thank you.
Motion, excuse me, all those opposed, no. Hearing none, the motion stands approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Calvert.
I'd like to draw your attention to the personnel agenda. Section 1 is for information. Section 2 requires action.
I move to approve the actions under Section 2.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Crump to approve Section 2 of the personnel agenda. Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Calvert. Ms. Hatley, do you have anything further? Okay. Public comments, and if I can find my list here, we got one signed up. There it is. Mr. Bruce Nance, is that correct?
Yep.
From Stanfield? Okay.
I'd like to speak to y'all about in April, last April, the request y'all had in Santa Union Press about teaching church in schools. What are y'all going to teach, the true religion or false religion? According to the way I get the paper, y'all going to teach the true religion and the false religion too. Is that right? According to this paper now, boy, I ain't got much education now, but according to this paper, y'all going to teach false religion and true religion too. They're not but one religion. That's from God in heaven above, the Lord Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. You've been born again, and the Lord Jesus Christ is leading you, and the Holy Spirit living in y'all. How can y'all teach a false religion? You seen all these young people here tonight. Are y'all willing to teach them a false religion? Over here on the back, you say they more religion. Well, what other religion are they? Anybody know? Besides the true religion and the false religion? What other religion are they? Now, my Bible don't speak any other religion. Do y'all got any answers?
I want to say one thing, Mr. Nance. There's no decision. That was just a discussion. There's been no decision to do any of that at this point. That was just a discussion. So I don't know if you drew from the article in the paper that we had actually decided to do that. We have not.
Well, y'all, in the paper it says y'all going to get a man from the eastern part of the country to come in here and teach y'all.
The subject was discussed, but we made no decisions.
You're not voted on anything yet?
No, sir.
You're going to let it pray to God in heaven above. Let him make the right decision. Is that what you're going to do?
I don't know what decision will be made or if we will even make one at this point. I'm just saying that was an item that was discussed. So I understand your concern, but we haven't made a decision on that.
And so the churches better get involved in it. Is that right? If the church, now it says in here, the church can teach the classes, can they teach the true religion?
I think, sir, but to be honest with you, I think it's a moot point until we make a decision. I respect what you have to say, but it's a moot point until we make a decision. We haven't made a decision to do
Okay,
anything.
when y'all gonna make it?
I don't know that we will.
Okay, well, I'm coming. What?
But I mean, I appreciate you coming in and expressing your concern.
I'm gonna come to every meeting. I'm gonna speak.
That's fine. Okay.
Because I want this to stop. Because you look at all these young people here tonight. Would y'all want to teach them a false religion? I think a lot before I made any decision to start teaching in school, but it's not true. I appreciate y'all letting me speak, but you need to really let God in heaven above lead y'all. Because if we don't, the young people is going to be taught the wrong way. And y'all going to be the cause of it. Now, y'all just well answer yourselves, because if y'all pass the teach test, then y'all going to be responsible for leading these young children. And just think the kids that will marry outside the religion and all this and will be taught the wrong way. It's a serious thing in the United States, the way we are going. And nobody cares, don't seem like.
Thank you, Mr. Nance. Appreciate you coming. That's all the public comments. Mr. Bill Josie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope you all had an opportunity to see in the Saturday, Sunday newspaper, the Stanley News and Press, a nice full-page a picture that showed the accolades of this graduating class of 2017. We've already graduated one class from the early college, and we have 5 more to go. But in that, it stated that this class received over $5 million in scholarship awards, accepted over 75 different colleges, and we're sending 19 to the military, which represent all 5 branches. What we had intended to do there was to actually set the record. We have to set the bar, and the bar's been set. And the challenge has been issued to the class of 2018. The challenge has been issued to me, to my staff, to the principals, that we have to beat that next year. And we're going to. There are some great things happening in Stanley County schools. I'm not allowed to discuss test scores. I'll just sit here and smile really big, because they are starting to come in, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But again, $5 million that this class, without a job, has generated, and that speaks volumes. Thank you.
Well, I was trying to take notes during all the recognitions, but I got caught up in a bunch of the presentation. But I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Congrats to everyone who was recognized, especially our state champions, both on the track and the field. And very importantly, just want to say thank you to those third-year teachers for all you do, and thank you for sticking with Stanley County Schools.
I'll echo many of those recognitions. I congratulate all the students, but especially the staff. Thank you for all that you do. Teachers, support staff, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, everybody. The year's coming to a close, but we appreciate all that you do for the students. It's not just leading them in the education or their education, but it's also attending to their needs, their various needs throughout the school year. On personal levels and other levels as well. So thank you for all that you do to lead the students and those that especially look for the smile or the warm hug each and every day. Thank you for reaching out to each of those students and providing a light for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Mr. Watson.
I also would like to congratulate all of our recipients and our North Stanley lady comments. I just want to thank everybody that is in our system for everything that you do for these students. It takes a village to educate our children. So thank you, everyone that is involved anywhere, our staff here, our teachers, everyone. Thank you for what you do. Summer is coming. Please have a good time, but please be careful, and next year we're going to be great. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of the award winners tonight. And I just want to pay particular attention to those third-year teachers. I remember what it feels like to be standing there, and it does feel like quite an accomplishment. Those are hard 3 years. Kind of reinvent the wheel seems like sometimes every day. And I was very proud to see them there and so excited that they decided to stay with Stanley County Schools. You know, the schools are changing, and we have competition down the road, and we have to up our game. And so I'm excited to be part of the process in finding what it is that is going to draw our students into our Stanley County school system. Very excited about the prospects and the good news at Oakboro Choice STEM School. I believe right now we've pulled in 41 new students who are not currently in our system. It's very exciting. Over 300 students want to go there. There was a desire and there's a need, and it will be met. And that's all, I think.
Thank you, Ms. Crump. Ms. Vaughn?
Yeah, I'd also like to congratulate all those that were recognized this evening, and especially a thank you for third-year teachers, and again, just thank you for staying with Stanley County Schools, and I hope you're here for many, many more years to come. Also, I'd like to mention that since being on the board, I had never visited Albemarle High School other than to go to ball games, and I had asked Ms. Calvert to go with me so I could visit, walk around, meet some of the teachers, Mr. McLaurin, And so one afternoon, we went over and visited for a couple of hours. Albemarle gets a really bad rap, has a bad name. I had never been. I wanted to see for myself this place that has, you know, everybody talks about, but I didn't see that. The children were, you know, not children, they're high school students, but very well behaved. I enjoyed meeting the educators over there, Mr. McLaurin. We visited at the end of the day, which would typically be crazy in a high school, but it wasn't like that. I guess it's true, you know, what they say about perception. But I was very pleased with my visit, and I would invite any and all of you to do the same. Lastly, let me say that I've never felt like this segment is really for personal stories or things to do with us personally. It really should be focused on our system, the people in our system, but I'm going to go off course with that tonight. Because this being graduation month, Father's Day, there are a couple of things I'd like to share. The year I turned 6 years old, my birthday was one day past the deadline date for school registration. So I wasn't allowed to start school in Stanley County. Determined I would start school, my daddy rented a motel room just on the other side of the South Carolina state line and listed it as his residence. He then enrolled me in the school system with a later registration date. Every morning we left our home early for South Carolina so I could attend school. Once the requirements were met, I was able to transfer to Ridgecrest Elementary and attend as a first grader in Stanley County Schools. Fast forward to roughly late 90s, early 2000, the Environmental Health Department said the water at Ridgecrest Elementary wasn't healthy for consumption. Our school system had been purchasing bottled water for quite some time, and there was a lot about that bothered my dad. He was the owner and operator of Locust Pump and Well Drilling, and he thought it was awful that a child couldn't drink from the water fountain. He didn't understand the system spending so much money on bottled water when there were other and better solutions. This bothered him so much that he offered to donate a well to the school. He, my brothers, and Tad Little, an employee at the time, drilled a new well, installed a new pump, so the kids at Ridgecrest Elementary and the staff could have fresh water. This was a generous gift to not only the community, but to the system as a whole. You may have guessed already my dad was strong-willed. When he believed in something or someone, he was steadfast. I am my daddy's daughter. Serving on the previous Board of Education, I made the motion to close Oakboro Elementary. An administrator of one of the local Facebook community pages, someone that has a history with my family, commented on how disappointed my dad would be with me. These comments came while I, along with my family, were still grieving his passing. These words were like buckshot. They were meant for me, but wounded my son and other family members. The following comments from a local man were made on the same site and allowed to stay up for all to read. Again, most importantly, to my son. She should have been dragged out in the street and beaten along with the rest of the Board of Education. Knowing all this must be difficult for my son, having known that and to read about it and have people ask him about it, I asked my son, "Do you want me to step down?" His answer and support has never wavered. He is my son. He too is strong-willed and steadfast. Clay is now a graduating senior at West Stanley. He's so much more than my dad's namesake. Just like his papa, he loves and serves his community with an open heart. I'm a proud mom. This month, I honor and recognize the two men that can or could debate me and push my buttons like no other. But I've loved like no other. As I said earlier, both are products of Stanley County Schools. My daddy was a successful businessman and a pillar of the community. This year on Father's Day, he'll be missed like he is every day. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for Clay Vaughn and the difference he can make where he stands. He has had some wonderful mentors along the way, for which I'm eternally grateful. Jan Fort, Emily Shaw, Russell Doolin, Sergeant Z, Ken Macon, and Eric Mormon, just to name a few. From elementary through high school, the teachers and coaches are too numerous to mention. Like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Thank you to the passionate and nurturing employees of Stanley County Schools that helped raise Clay Vaughn. There really are no words to express my appreciation. Thank you, Kim Page, and to your villagers for a place we'll always call home. Thank you for making a difference in my child's life and mine.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Ms. Gibson?
Well, it's hard to follow that. I would just like to echo the thanks to all the recipients of the awards that were given out tonight. Again, especially recognizing those third-year teachers. I remember it seems like it was not so long ago that I was a third-year teacher, but yet it's been a long time ago. But those were wonderful days. I also would like to say a very special thank you to administrators that are always here. I see your faces, and that means a lot each time that we have a board meeting, as well as the central staff. So thank you for being here. And then one final thing, I think, was it last Friday that some of us were able to visit Mr. Sorensen's room at South Stanley High School, the robotics team, and his class and what they were able to do. I was totally amazed. My visual, spatial intelligence was shown up that I didn't have any. But anyway, those students are just exceptional, as well as Mr. Sorensen. So that is great. Stanley County just has so many wonderful things going on. And seems like we don't just get the recognition out there, but our schools really, really have a lot going on. And I thank everybody from the teachers, staff, all in their schools, and our county office. Thank you. And Mr. Josie, thank you for putting that out in the paper. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson. I'd like to ditto that, Mr. Josie, for putting that in the paper. I think you illustrate very well that we're not going to take a back seat to anybody in educating children. We held our last meeting prior to Memorial Day, and this meeting is after Memorial Day, and I'd like to take a moment just to pay tribute to all those who gave their lives, that we can be free and enjoy the freedoms and the blessings that we have. Spent quite a bit of time in the military myself, and people want to honor me on Memorial Day, and I said, no, this is for the ones that died. These are the real heroes. And I think we forget sometimes that a lot of these people lost their lives at 19, 20, and 21 years old. They didn't get to live their lives out like we have. And so just honor all those that gave their lives. I think it was Mr. Josie sharing with me that we had good participation from the Albemarle community, and I think this dovetails a little bit with what Ms. Vaughn was saying. Good participation from the community coming in, doing a cleanup, and that's what makes every school and every community go is community participation. Just say congratulations to all the graduates across the system. You're getting ready to start out into, quote, the real world, as they say, and I wish all of you well. Regardless of what your endeavor in life is, I've always been of the philosophy that if you're happy and enjoy what you're doing, you're a success, whatever that is. I'd like to make a special, just extend a special thanks to the staff of our system that's been involved with the Oakboro project. This board threw you a tremendous task with a short time fuse, and I think all of you have risen to the occasion and worked hard at it, and I think it's caught on and results are good. And my hope really is that we can, that this, whether it's this board or some other board, can duplicate this in the future in another area of the county, maybe a couple areas of the county. That way you don't have to have the hub stops and the busing of students. But this has indicated to me that there's a tremendous interest in the public in this type of approach to education. And I just compliment the staff. There's a lot to do, and also the new principal. I know she's been in it, and the custodian, everybody's been involved in this. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. With that, in the past, the board has not met on July, but do we want to go ahead and leave this meeting schedule? It won't be the 4th of July, because that'll be the first Tuesday. We've got the July the 11th here. Hopefully we'll know budget stuff by that time.
Yes, sir. I would advise leaving this schedule simply for personnel matters,
Okay.
possibly
Gotcha.
budget matters, and then we're going to need to have a meeting scheduled in the end of June also. We'll let you know the date on that one.
Okay, so from that, we may have a special call meeting sometime towards the end of June. Okay, the next board meeting will be Tuesday, July the 11th, here in the Commons Room. Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session for personnel matters under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 and student matters, North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A1 and attorney-client matters, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
I move we
Move
go
for
into
the board.
closed session.
Go ahead, Glenda.
I move for the board to go into closed session.
Okay, motion by Ms. Gibson, second by Ms. Crump. 2-minute recess en route.